Hunter sailboats from 25 to 49 feet are built in this state-of-the-art facility in North Central Florida, USA. Our ESOP program affords each employee an opportunity to own a part of the company and benefit from improving performance and efficiency. Over the years, it's helped create a team of skilled professionals focused on retaining customers by delivering both quality and value. Let's take a look at how Hunter is constructed from start to finish. Hunter sailboats are built in three major parts: the hull, the interior module, and the deck. In this segment, we'll look at how the hull is constructed. The hull is constructed in a female mold, beginning with the spray application of the exterior gel coat. Next, each boat gets a special skin coat formulated to prevent osmotic blistering. This outer skin is augmented with alternating layers of woven fabric and chopped strands, saturated with resin and rolled out to eliminate air bubbles. Each layer of fabric is mechanically pre-cut for a precise fit and packaged into ready-to-use kits for easy layup. Above the waterline, Hunter uses a sandwich panel construction to increase stiffness without adding extra weight. The lightweight core separates two skins of fiberglass, creating a rigid I-beam structure for superior hull strength. Below the waterline, it's all solid fiberglass with a layer of Kevlar reinforcement in the forward sections for extra impact resistance. The chain plate attachment points are heavily reinforced with extra fiberglass that wraps around the entire hull, distributing the load more evenly than conventional methods. Another vital component is the rudder shaft tube. It's primary bonded into the hull with base reinforcement, the strongest type of attachment for maximum strength. Once cured, the hull is ready for fusion with the reinforced grid and interior module. We'll take a closer look at that in the next segment, titled Modular Assembly. In this segment, we'll look at how the interior woodwork module and structural grid are constructed and then fused to the hull. Construction of the interior woodwork starts with computer-controlled cutting of the flat panel parts. CNC technology allows each piece to be cut with precise accuracy at high speed for maximum efficiency and minimum waste. Once the pieces have been cut and sorted, they're assembled into modular components such as galley units, nav stations, and cabinets. This method of construction is far more efficient than building each piece inside the actual boat. Here in the woodshop, the workforce has easy access to tools and fasteners and is overseen by quality control supervision throughout the process. Next, these interior sub-assemblies will become part of the boat interior during the module stage. But first, the structural grid foundation must be prepared. Each boat uses a molded fiberglass reinforcement grid that is shaped to fit perfectly inside the hull just below the waterline. The grid serves three functions. First, the grid serves as a support frame for the internal systems such as plumbing and electrical wiring. Wires and hoses are run through for connections to tanks, pumps, batteries, and switches. All wiring is run through PVC conduit with access holes cut at each end. Secondly, the grid serves as a foundation for the interior woodwork. The rigged grid is placed into a mobile replica of the hull called a module cart, where a subfloor is installed. Cabinetry constructed in our woodshop is then placed inside and fastened together, forming a single interior module that comprises about 75% of the boat's interior. The third function of the grid is to provide extra reinforcement to the hull. The grid is shaped for an exact match to the inside of the hull. A high-tech super adhesive called Plexus is applied to the inside of the hull. Then, the grid with the completed interior module is lifted from the cart and lowered into place inside the hull. The Plexus chemically melts the two parts and permanently fuses them into one as it cures. Structural bulkheads are bonded directly to the hull with fiberglass tabbing. A few hours later, the hull is ready for demolding. It's now permanently fused to the grid and interior module and ready for the mechanical and decking stage. However, our next stop will be deck construction, where we'll see what goes in to building a Hunter deck. In this segment, we'll look at how the decks are constructed. Like with most fiberglass parts, the deck is built from the outside in, so the process starts with a highly polished female mold. After the exterior gel coat is applied, fiberglass fabric is saturated with liquid resin to form the exterior skin. The deck is also a sandwich construction with plywood blocks used as the core material. The blocks are set down in a wet resin and fiberglass mixture. Fillet strips are placed at the edges to ensure no air pockets are formed when the top skin is laid over the blocks. The important hardware like cleats, stanchions, and winches require special support. The deck is reinforced in these locations with aluminum plates to maximize strength and reduce the risk of water intrusion. A skin of fiberglass fabric is laid over the plywood and aluminum, sealing it into a solid composite sandwich. Again, it's rolled out to eliminate air bubbles. After the resin hardens to form a single molded part, the deck is turned right side up and demolded using compressed air and wooden wedges. After trimming holes are cut out for the port lights using special templates to ensure precise location, locker and hatch openings are already indexed into the part and are cut and smoothed by hand. Once the cutting and trimming is done, the deck is moved to the assembly area, where the hardware kit is waiting to be installed. The locations for fastener holes are molded into the deck and drilled by hand. 3M's legendary 5200 adhesive is used to shut out water. The studs or bolts pass through the aluminum backing plate laminated into the deck and are fastened with washers and nuts. The excess caulking is cleaned away. Once all the hardware has been mounted, the deck is ready to be fitted to the hull. We'll look at how that works a little later. Once the hull with the module bonded in has been demolded, the rough edges are trimmed off and the flange is smoothed out. It enters one of 8 assembly lines where the larger mechanical equipment is installed and the deck will be fitted. At any given time, over 50 boats are under construction here. The Yanmar engine is easily lifted up and lowered down into the open hull where it gets bolted down and hooked up. With the mechanical equipment installed, the boat is now ready for decking. The meeting is called an external flange joint, and it's the strongest method of joining a hull and deck. A continuous bead of 3M's 5200 adhesive sealant is applied all the way around the boat. The deck is then lowered into place for a perfect fit. Screws are used to squeeze the two parts together. After the caulking is set, bolts are inserted and backed up with nuts for a permanent, watertight seal. Special attention is paid to the critical main shroud chain plate. There's extra fiberglass here to pick up the loads of the rig and distribute it evenly around the hull. This heavy-duty stainless fitting is caulked in place from the outside. The extra large diameter studs are fitted with stainless backing plates and nuts. After a thorough inspection, a supervisor signs off verifying the quality control. The final assembly steps are to install the keel and rudder. Holes are drilled up from the bottom of the keel sump to accept the stainless keel bolts. With the heavy lead keel in position, the boat is carefully lowered into place for a dry fit. For final fitting, the keel is permanently set in epoxy and faired for a smooth finish, and then barrier coated for complete watertight integrity. The rudder with its heavy stainless shaft is moved into position. The quadrant is attached and fitted to the steering system. A test launching in our private lake verifies the watertight integrity of keel bolts and all through-hull fittings. After final quality checks and a complete detailing, the cushions are installed. The boat is loaded with the mast and trucked away to the dealership for final commissioning and delivery to the customer.